Alright, this is my functional behavior assessment that I did during the semester. And as discussed previously, I did a student in my primary class since we've had so many problem behaviors there. And so we'll call the student Caden Allred. His disability classification was ADHD. He speaks English, he's 10 years old, in the 4th grade, in a primary class at church is where I observed him, which has about 3 to 4 students on an average week. And the teacher is Mr. Clyde. So the definition of the behavior that we're looking at is out-of-seat behavior, which is any time Caden gets up from his chair or is sitting without his back pockets on the flat part of his chair, except when instructed to by the teacher. I was able to do a fast form interview and find that the behavior occurs during the second hour of church or the first hour of primary when he is asked to participate and listen to a lesson. Also, sometimes it seems that it's when a specific peer is present, but it does not occur in the first or third hour of church, which are large group settings where the student just has to sit and isn't really asked to participate. It also doesn't occur during games or active parts of the lesson when he's really involved in what's going on. So additionally, on the FAST form, I found that Caden is engaged and participates when active, involved in competitive or fun games, and also after being asked to sit a lot, and when he doesn't, he finally asks to go find his mom or leave the room for various reasons or excuses. So according to the FAST form questions, it suggested that his behavior was the function was either social escape from task and activities or social attention and preferred items, although the escape has more evidence that I have seen, and so I stuck with that for the hypothesis. So my hypothesis for the function is that Caden engages in out-of-seat behavior to escape from tasks or activities, specifically from class, really, from having to sit and participate and answer questions. So I then went and did a couple ABC observations over the course of a few weeks, and these are some of the behaviors that I found. So one thing that was interesting is that the behavior occurs when the teacher starts class all the way through when they're ending class. It happens quite often. It happened when the teacher turned to write on the board, when they passed out papers, when they asked Caden to read, and when the teacher themselves read aloud and was trying to explain something or have a discussion with the class. So the behavior included sitting on the windowsill instead of his chair, standing by his peers, sitting on the floor, tipping his chair over, moving to the floor, standing up and throwing paper balls into the trash, tipping his chair back and laying it on the ground. And I found that this was followed by many different kinds of consequences. So for one, he was asked to sit and physically prompted just slightly to sit, asked to sit multiple times and then ignored. And then there were multiple times that I found where the teacher just ignored the out-of-seat behaviors and just asked him to read until he complied, so he didn't have to be in his seat to do the task. And I've also seen the teacher sit right next to Caden. I've seen that after Caden gets asked to sit, he asked to go find his mom or to go to the bathroom. And there's been a couple times where the class has just ended early as a result. So after those observations and seeing the frequency of the behavior occurring, I believe that my observation supports my hypothesis and that Caden does engage in out-of-seat behavior to escape classroom tasks. And my justification for this is that he really doesn't have any problem behavior in larger group settings where he doesn't have to participate. And his problem behavior is also usually followed by some kind of break or escape the task. And if it isn't followed by that, then he usually escalates his attempt to receive a break or to escape the classroom physically. So in my observations, I found he was consistently out of seat. He wouldn't participate unless it was something engaging, some kind of special activity that wasn't the usual requirements. And also something interesting was over the weeks we found the behavior occurs even when certain peers are absent. So that kind of takes away the peer reinforcement side of it. And he didn't appear to be seeking teacher reinforcement either. So just like I said, like, it doesn't appear to have any connection to obtaining self-stimulation. That wasn't found in any of the observations or the interview that I did. And he doesn't appear to be doing it to obtain attention from teachers or peers, since that doesn't seem to really have an effect on the behavior and that it happens one way or the other. But it does correlate with escaping and avoiding tasks, specifically just trying to escape class time in particular. So for my behavior support plan, I went ahead and thought about the competing pathways, and I found that Caden, for a setting event, I thought about him having to sit through 1 hour of church already, and it's midday, which can be hard, especially since he has ADHD. And antecedent triggers were just class time, being asked to read, asked to answer a question, just being asked to really sit still and participate in a lesson. So the problem behavior is obviously out-of-seat behavior that's escape maintained. And the alternative replacement behavior could be having him stand to write, place papers on the board, standing to play a game, just standing more for those activities that we talked about earlier where he doesn't exhibit that behavior. And the desired behavior would be for him to stay in his seat after the first reminder. And a maintaining consequence for that would be obtaining a preferred activity or reward that he wanted. So intervention strategies that I went ahead and pulled out and selected for this. One of them was a preventative strategy, which would be taking the class for a short walk before starting class. So when we get into the room and all the students get there, then just taking a lap through the church or even just a quick bathroom break, so that there is some form of escape at the beginning. For a teaching strategy, you could use activities and games that allow Caden to get out of his chair and have fun, but are still structured into the lesson. And as a consequent strategy, all students could earn points towards a preferred activity or a special treat of their choice when they sit in their chairs and answer questions and things like that. And we would go ahead and keep track of that where everyone could see it. So the ideas behind these is that with the prevention strategy, it would create satiation for escape and really play into, those motivating functions for Caden's behavior. And for the teaching strategy, he would still be engaging in the behavior of being out of seat, but it would be when the teacher instructed him to. He's still feeling the effects of escaping the class, but he's able to participate. And this is actually something that the primary class has tried, and they have found that it's working. And so I think classroom evidence can be the best evidence for people. So that is a great strategy for this class. And the consequent strategy is that he's able to work towards something of his choice with that preferred reinforcement, and his peers, which seems to be just a slightly smaller reinforcement for him, will encourage good behavior because they all want that reward. It's a group contingency, it's peer reinforcement, so they're all earning points towards escape in the future through some kind of preferred activity rather than the normal classroom routine. And so that will just really reinforce him to keep trying for that. And that is the end of my presentation. Thank you for listening.